Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the Fusion event calendar as we always do on the channel, looking at what you have to do to complete the Skorid the Halfspawn fusion. If you decide to do it, is it worth doing this fusion? It's a pretty big question mark. I think it really depends on what damage dealers you already have for Hydra. He's good. You saw my showcase of him. Lots of other people have done showcases as well. He is a good Hydra damage dealer, but do you need that? Or do you already have it covered is a big question. And there's also, of course, I'm even noticing there's no hero's path or anything set up during this fusion. There could be a hero's path after, or a surprise one during. Usually they'd announce it here, though. Or there could be a Titan event after that could give souls for this champion. He's very good with souls. He likes the defensive stats to keep him alive. The attacking stats are obviously fantastic. A 5-star soul. The accuracy for his hex is great, plus the blessing effect. So, yeah, he could be genuinely very good. I mean, if you get him and there is a soul event for him after, it's a lot to do, but it could be a nice upgrade to some of your Hydra teams. But then again, it might not be. So I sort of leave this one up to you. I'm going to grab him myself. I think for me, with my account, I actually think he's not going to be useful for me. I'm probably going to grab him anyway because, you know, content creator, late game player, it's not really a big deal to do it. But if you're on the fence, yeah, I think really think about what you need. Like, do you need him for Hydra? Because he is very good. But you may or may not need him. But let's see how hard it is, because that will change the decisions as well. If it's easy to get, no problem. If he's hard to get, you might change your mind. I think the first thing to look at then is going to be the summoning events. First up, we are starting with Summon Rush. We don't have any info yet as to what's going to be in that Summon Rush. We might actually find out later today, probably should. So I'll probably do an update video breaking that down. But the Summon Rush is interesting because not only do you have one of the rares, we also have the Epic up for grabs. Then after that, we're going to have a Champion Chase tournament the following week. I think this is probably 2x. I think it's due to be Ancients. I think it's Ancients that's due up next time, which actually makes it quite easy. 2x Ancients is by far, I would say, the easiest Champion Chase layout. That's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. Ancient's really not useful for Summon Rush, so you're not really missing out on, you know, there's not really much overlap between the two. Ancients are very accessible as well, so that's actually reasonable enough. For this Summon Rush, hopefully, we'll see what the points end up being tomorrow. Hopefully it won't be too intensive to get the rare, but it's probably very intensive to get the Epic. I would be guessing probably about 10 Sacreds to get the Epic is usually where they go, and it might be around about like 5 or so for the rare. I guess we'll find out. It's hard to say, but yeah, it might be worth going and grabbing this Epic. If it is about 10 Sacreds, it would mean you could come in. And what events would you skip at a quick glance? Dungeon Divers. There are 3 Dungeon Divers. They're always good ones to skip. There's a big champion training at the end. That's a decent one to skip. So yeah, like at a quick glance, I might be looking to skip. You see, this Dungeon Divers 2 is actually not too bad. There's nothing else sort of on at the same time. I might be looking to skip, because you could skip 4 copies of the rare. I might say, okay, let me skip Ice Golem Tournament, Dungeon Divers 3, and maybe this Champion Training event. I'll skip those 3, and then one other bonus one, and I can just sort of focus my time at this point. Right, from basically once I'm done the Fire Knight tournament in Dungeon Divers 2, I can now chill and I can be doing Minotaur or whatever I want to do instead. That is not a bad idea, I think. It's not terrible. You could also skip the entire Champion Chase. I don't expect it to be that difficult, though, because it is just for the one rare in the Champion Chase. There's no extra. There's not 2 rares. It's just the one. So it shouldn't be too bad. So I don't think you actually probably need to skip that one. So yeah, looking at this, I think a lot of the questions for the summoning comes down to how difficult will the points be in the Summon Rush. I'm expecting the Champion Chase shouldn't be too bad. So we'll see. We shall find out, I guess. Right, looking then at your energy stuff. Well, actually, let's look at some easy stuff. So first of all, Classic Arena. I think there's only 2, yeah, and these are very straightforward. These are sort of the freebie points these days, so that's really not too bad. Again, let's touch on something simple enough but difficult, which is Artifact Enhancement. There are 3, yep, 3 of them. There we go. One thing to note, actually, about this last one is this here. should be CVC, which does overlap with Artifact Enhancement. In fact, Artifact Enhancement probably starts with CVC. This should not be personal rewards. It should be just a regular chill CVC. But it will be quite easy, I think, to do those CVC points. You'll be doing your Artifact Enhancement with it. Ascending champions and stuff should double dip CVC points with Champion Training Event. Unfortunately, booking champions gives you lots of CVC points, but doesn't give you Champion Training Event points, only tournament points for Champion Training from books. And you probably booked champs during personal reward CVC just gone. So you probably don't have too many bucks left for this champ training tournament if that's something you want to do. But yeah, CVC is over here. And over here is Siege. Now, Siege is not very time-consuming at all, but this is when the next Siege should be, so it should be coming up in just a few days. So that's what's going on there. But yeah, look, Classic Arena is straightforward. Artifact Enhancement, you just have to save up your silver for Artifact Enhancement. It really is that simple. You're going to generate a good bit of silver doing the events for this fusion. Just save up, do the minimum in each Artifact Enhancement to get the rare, and you should be okay. Usually having about 20 million silver set aside for each of these is a good idea. Right, about 20 million silver. Okay, energy then are the next big thing. In fact, all the things that are left. So Dungeon Divers, these are obviously the things that we want to watch out for. Dungeon Divers 1, 2, and then Dungeon Divers 3. The Dungeon Divers are usually rough. They need extra energy, but you want to sort of sync your dungeon tournaments up on top of them. So for example, right here, Dragon Tournament overlaps a lot of Dungeon Divers 1. You can do it today, but I would advise not doing it. I'd actually probably start in Champion Training today, and then it's pretty much fine to just sort of finish that off as you go. You do get some, of course, Dungeon Diver points doing Champion Training if you're grinding in campaign. But yeah, I'd probably be doing that today. Get started on Champion Training, get a good foot in, and then go hard on Dragon tomorrow. Get your Dungeon Divers points sorted with the Dragon. Now, we will also have Spider overlapping with that first Dungeon Divers as well. Then there's a bit of a gap where you kind of want to save energy. Not much is happening on Monday. Monday's actually quite quiet. Imagining this Dungeon Divers 1 and Champ Training finished probably at like 9 a.m. or something very early on Monday. You're kind of chilling on Monday, not very exciting. And then Tuesday stuff really kicks off. So Monday's a very quiet day. It's sort of, I'd say Thursday here today is quite quiet. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, very busy. Monday is actually pretty quiet. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, it's actually not bad. It's literally just Spider and Dungeon Divers 2. That's sort of it. But you'll be doing Siege as well. Probably be some sort of midweek summoning events. There usually is, I don't know, some Prism Shards or something. There'll be probably something, but that's sort of what's happening there. Fire Night then kicks off again during Dungeon Divers 2. And then you've got a little bit of a gap until Dungeon Divers 3 starts, and there you go. Like I said, for me personally, I'd love to just get this epic from Summon Rush. I think I probably will, and then try to skip some of these events at the end. It's not that big of a deal, but just to make things a little bit easier. Dungeon Divers 3 then is over here, so Ice Golem really overlaps with that. You're actually probably fine to keep going on Ice Golem. It is during CVC, but yeah, that's sort of what's going on there. And then I would say you can really run the Champion Training event. I would say pretty much any point, actually, straight through. That's sort of what's happening. So lots of stuff going on. In terms of ascending, do I have actually something to double check this? I'm not sure if I do. Oh, no, here we go. So for the rares, I think you usually have to bring the rares up to, is it 4-star or is it just 3-star? If it's 3-star, you're going to need this many potions. Otherwise, you're going to need this many. It's really very small amounts of potions for the rares, so I wouldn't really worry about that. You're going to have to get 16 of them up, but it's still a relatively small amount of potions. Then for both the Rancid for the Epic, in fact, we can actually double check that. Which thing? Is it, oh no, it's not actually live in-game. Never mind, I take it back. The Fusion, the events are live in-game, but the Fusion himself hasn't shown up. Womp womp. For both the Rancid, let me see if I have a nice Spirit. A nice Spirit Epic. Hopefully we do have one somewhere. Well, I guess we can do it without a Spirit Epic. We can do it with a Magic Epic. Just imagine these blue potions are in fact green. So you're going to need a pretty big chunk to get 4 of them up to 5-star Ascended to then fuse up. You're going to need, what, 4 times 6? So you're going to need, what, 24 of the big green potions. You're going to need 80 of the medium ones. It's a substantial chunk, so definitely watch out for that. You're going to need to do, potentially, you probably should be fine for the void potions. You shouldn't need to do any void keep stuff, but maybe, but unlikely. Spirit keep, you might need to do some spirit keep, though, to make sure you've got enough for him. Another thing to watch out for that can make it easier as well is if we come in, so number one, you can fuse your boths during champion chase, right? You can fuse them. So like you put your rares, your 4 rares, fuse the both, and bam, you've got yourself a bunch of champion chase points for free, which will make it, I think, again, makes it quite easy. They often put the points a bit higher, so make sure you do it, right? Don't fuse your guys early and be like, I'll do champion chase, no problem. They are known to crank the points up for these champion chases when you confuse stuff to help with them. So definitely plan for that. Like I said, you should be able to get 2, potentially 3 of the epics fused up during champion chase to help you a little bit. I think you'll get you get 2 of them done. Again, you could maybe get 3 done if you get your ice golem stuff done quickly on Sunday. You could probably get 3 fused up, which will give you an extra 750 points of champion chase for the epics. It's pretty nice. And then of course you would be leveling this guy probably during the champion training event, right? So whenever you get these rares, as you're getting them, definitely get these rares leveled up during champion training up here. That's great. Fantastic. Level them all up. Get them all ready to fuse up, but don't fuse them. Fuse them into the epic during champion chase, and then you'd be leveling up all those epics for champion training. That's if you're going to be doing everything. And you can overlap leveling the epic and champion training with, it's again just a chill CVC, but it will overlap. So that's how it's looking. I think, honestly, this one looks fairly easy, to be completely honest. I think for a traditional fusion, it's actually quite an easy looking one. Yeah, it's quite an easy looking one. You might even pull, if you are going to pull some voids for Summon Rush, now I think it was 2x voids last week, so you might not have any. But if you are going to use some void shards for Summon Rush, if you're lucky enough to get a copy of this guy, Branch Arm Lazaire, hey, you're happy, you're good. That makes your life a little bit easier. I think that the rare is pretty solid as well. Like, quick thoughts on these. I did quick thoughts in the other video. Oh, they haven't actually loaded into the game yet. I guess I need to reload the game or something. But the rare, he's okay. I don't know if you'd be really rushing out to build him or anything. You know, you don't really need to build very many rares in this game until you're getting to more late game stuff like secret rooms and Doom Tower usually is where rares are super essential. He's quite a solid rare, but you don't really need to build him. So yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be too worried about getting an extra copy or anything. So no harm, but it's not that important. Now, both the Rancid, the Epic, I think, is actually really good. He's got increase accuracy, decrease accuracy for an Epic is nice. Heal reduction is really nice for several bosses. He makes Nether Spider a heck of a lot easier as well. Makes your team take half damage from poisons. He's great against a bunch of Doom Tower bosses. Could be very, very helpful against several of the bosses in the Cursed City. So I think there is also an option for you to do the whole fusion and get an extra copy of both the Rancid. Now, you'd want to have kind of a surplus of shards and still need him for progress, but that is an option that's available to more of our early to mid-game spenders, shall we say, is getting the extra copy of both. I think that's a fairly reasonable thing to do. He's definitely an Epic that, for a lot of people, probably will be worth building because he's going to show up in Cursed City and things like that. So, yeah, both the Rancid. He's a decent Epic. If you're not able to do the fusion completely, I think it's definitely worth picking at least 4 of these events to fuse up 1 copy of both. Makes a whole lot of sense. He's not a damage dealer. I don't think you need to empower him, so you don't need to chase down extra copies, I think, particularly urgently. Though, for filling up your Faction Guardians, if it's easy enough for you to finish some of these events, you might as well do them for an extra copy of both for Faction Guardians, if it's not going to really cost you too much. That's sort of my thoughts on the fusion. For me, like I said, I don't think I'm probably going to use Skorid, but I think I'll just do it anyway because it doesn't really bother me too much to do it. And it's something to do, so I will do it. But there we are. It doesn't look too hard. It's sort of my thoughts on it. We'll see, of course, how the points are set up, but I think that this fusion is about as easy as my initial impression. Seems to be roughly about as easy as a traditional fusion like this gets. Fragment ones are easier overall. These ones are sort of the mid difficulty one. This looks to be more on the low end of the mid difficulties. My thoughts. Let me know. What do you guys think? What are you doing? Give us any tips as well. If I've missed anything, I'm very tired today. I was out drinking with my friends yesterday. Met up with my friends and we were just out in Dublin all day. So I'm tired today. The brain is very much not working well. But yeah, we'll see. Thanks. I'll see y'all next time. Goodbye.